Hi, I'm Rich with New Life Scientific, and today I want to show off a really beautiful and nice machine. It is a 2003 model, but when we got it in, I really don't think it was used, or if it was barely used. We didn't see any residue signs of extreme usage. It's been buttoned up and put in storage for a long time, and we just cleaned it up and we flushed it out and been running it, and we're going to do a demo here today. But this is a Niro machine. It's made in Europe. It's a homogenizer, and it's a model number NS3006H-VHP. And we've got it all hooked up ready to go right now, but this does about 120 liters an hour and about 15,000 psi, so it does really some high pressure homogenizing. It has a two-stage. It has the first stage down here and a second stage over here, and we're going to just do a walkthrough of kind of the fluid flow, the chiller flow, all the hookups, pressure reliefs, and just kind of walk through the plumbing on it. And you can kind of just see how beautiful it is and how clean and very little use when we do this walkthrough. And you can kind of see the heat exchanger up here sticking out. But basically right now we got we're pumping in from our external pump over on the other end, where we'll look at in a little bit, but our main flow comes on this side. This is all built on a portable skid, as it were. Has swivel wheels in all corners, so it's easily tucked away when you're not using it, but you can pull it out and hook it up. We got our first stage pump here. You can see the line comes in. It does have a bypass right here, where it is an air controlled valve where you can bypass that first stage if you want. Right now we're not. We're actually running it through so we can show it all in action. So first stage pump is working good. Actually has some pressure on it right now from us running it. So it comes in and it comes off the top here, and then we also have a gauge for our first stage pressures here, and then from that it comes over here to another valve, which is actually a drain valve here. You can drain off, and then it comes into the second stage pump, which is our high pressure homogenizing. And you can see down in the plexiglass right behind us, you can see it's 3 cylinders, has 3 ceramic plungers there that operate almost like a 3-cylinder engine, and it works great, as we'll see in a little bit. So we got our high pressure head here in our air source that's controlling the high pressure. We have our high pressure gauge right here that we can easily monitor the pressure. And then we've actually hooked up and bypassed the pressure control. We just did a manual one, and the reason we did that is we didn't understand the software over here on the board. And we'll look at that a little bit, but then you can see the line comes up here, and then this is where it enters the heat exchanger, and then you have the heat exchanger line coming from the other end. All the hookups are on the other end for that, so we'll look at that. But it then passes through the heat exchanger here, extracts all the heat from the product, all the heat buildup from the homogenizing, especially the higher pressures. So I'd mentioned the controller for the homogenizing pressure. We're not knowledgeable on this control panel here, and all this does is it actually just operates a pressure solenoid and then adjusts the pressure so that you can then adjust the high pressure on our diaphragm over here. So we've just kind of bypassed that rather than spending too much time, and just installed again this manual air pressure regulator, and it just cranks up the high pressure and lowers it there for display. This is still operable. It just would need a little bit more time to know how to program it and set your variables. And that's why I feel like it wasn't used, because there wasn't any programs in it when we got it, as if it wasn't even used. All the alarms are all working great. We've tested all the alarms. Your feed pressure works, your high pressure works, your condensate flow works, air pressure works. All these work. If you don't have everything it needs, it won't run, or it will shut down. So the safety features are all working great. We're coming over here now to kind of the other side. This is your chiller hookups here for your heat exchanger up on top here. It does have a vent here, and it also has a nice drain valve for your heat exchanger, and you can hook up there to get that drained out a little quicker. And then we also have the process fluid coming through, another gauge on this end to monitor, and then we also have a shut-off valve, so when we're getting ready to just unhook here, you can shut this valve off. And so we don't have a lot of fluids coming down. You can just kind of store your flushing fluids in it too. So right now, again, we've just got our jug here where we're just recycling alcohol. We're flushing everything with it and recycling it. And right now we're just utilizing a pump off this microfluidics unit that we're rebuilding right now. So we've got this diaphragm pump that we're just kind of just using it to get our flows going. So we're going to demonstrate this thing running and adjust the pressures. So pretty straightforward. This is your bypass over here, like I'd mentioned, and you can see this working here. And then it's pretty easy. You just have your stop, you have the emergency stop button here, and then you have your start button. And then up here you do have your smart relays in here too. Again, we haven't done a whole lot with this here, but if you do trigger any of these alarms, it will tell you what to do on there too. So you can set some times and different things with this. So we're gonna go ahead and just power it on. So right now our first pump is running here. You can see it down in there. Got 2-cylinder pump there. We got our pressures here. The fluid is coming through, and we know it's coming through because we're running at pretty high pressure right now, 530 bar. You can see our 3 cylinders, ceramic cylinders, pumping right here. And we're just going to show you what we did here over here on our air regulator. So when we crank up the air here, we're going to raise the pressure down here, and you can see our pressure start raising up here. We're going to go ahead and go all the way to 1,000 bar, which is about 15,000 psi, I believe. So we don't want to run it too long because the heat really builds up, and we're not running a chiller right now to extract the heat. So I'm going to crank down the pressure again here, and by just lowering the air pressure, we're essentially just lowering the air pressure on this diaphragm, so then it releases off the high pressure pump head. So I like the hand dial one. I can dial it in where I want it and run it. And you can just, once you set your air pressure there, it just stays really consistent. You can just see how consistent it stays there. Right now it's running on 3-phase. We've got it plugged in back here. It's 50 amp 3-phase. Has a belt driven motor that sets in the back down here and runs nice and quiet. And probably the first stage pump is probably one of the noisiest parts of the machine, along with my air diaphragm pump over on the side there. But just a super nice machine. Has the control panel in here. Everything is very professionally wired. This thing's running great. We're pulling from our jug here, and it's pulling into the diaphragm pump and then taking it back over, and then we're moving fluid here. I just pull this out here so you can kind of see. I know I got this kind of tucked down in there, but you can see the flow coming out there. It's nice and warm. I don't want to pull it out and make a mess. And then I'm also using my my flushing fluid, or what I call condensate fluid. It's just flowing in and back out too. And that does have to be running, or you'll throw an alarm on that. But anyways, just a really nice running machine, really super clean, ready for some production. One button shuts it all off, and you can, once you've run your process, you can flush it very easily, hook it up and flush it kind of like what we're doing now, and then move it off the side for storage for your next run. But if you have any questions on this homogenizer, feel free to give us a call here at New Life Scientific. And again, I thank you for watching.